NEBOSH love to ask questions about why do inspections, or how would inspections have prevented this accident? Or in this case, let's take a look. How could carrying out health and safety inspections before the accident have benefited Harbour Heights Hotel? Note, your answer must be based on the scenario only. Okay, so we have a stem there telling us that our answer is based on the scenario only, which means you can take your course materials and all their generic theoretical answers and you can go shove them where that's not entirely true. Your course materials may have some valid information. You can just quickly revise that and see what are the benefits. But the benefits in your course materials might not be directly relevant to what's going on in the scenario. In fact, there may, in this scenario, be benefits which are not in your course materials. You're going to have to use your understanding of the theory and apply it to this situation. Now here I've got a scenario and I'm just going to say shout out to all my competitors who watch these videos. There are lots of tutors out there who watch these videos with lots of positive intent because they just want to help their own students get better. Brilliant, you are very welcome. Other competitors who are just watching this to try and catch me out and dob me into NEBOSH in case I've done something I'm not allowed to do, this is my scenario. I wrote this, I'm not sharing anything confidential. So just calm down, pipe down, watch and learn. Here we've got a scenario. So, Harbour Heights Hotel. It's a very short scenario. I haven't written a full NEBOSH scenario on this, but basically it's a hotel that's not in very good condition. There's a wedding happening, someone trips, cuts her hand very badly, and then there's the aftermath. And so the question is, how could carrying out health and safety inspections before the accident have benefited Harbour Heights Hotel? First thing we do on all NEBOSH questions is that we read the question super carefully, word by word, to understand what it's asking for. So how means by what mechanism. Could doesn't mean definitely, it means possibly. So that gives you quite a lot of room, a lot of leeway for interpretation. How could doing health and safety inspections, so you know an inspection, hopefully you know what an inspection is, you walk around and you're looking for hazards, looking for things that are wrong, things that are out of place, things that are broken and so on. And you're doing that to try and fix them before someone gets hurt. By what mechanism could doing those inspections before, not after, it's before the accident, the accident? No, not just broadly doing inspections, before this accident, like what accident? This one here, that accident right there. That's why it's the accident, not accidents. Before the accident have benefited, so helped, given some advantages in some way, benefited the hotel. Not benefited the hotel guests, not benefited the employees, not benefited the hotel. Right, okay. Hey, sorry to interrupt. If you're regretting your choice of course provider and you'd wish you studied with me instead, there's no problem. You can. Why don't you head over to Google right now and Google Compassa Rescue. Search for that and go to our rescue package. This is available for both international and national general certificate students. Perhaps your course is expired. Perhaps you've failed one of the assessments and you don't know what to do next. Perhaps you're just not happy with the level of teaching or support you're getting from your course provider. In that case, come check out the rescue package and click on Apply Now. We will offer you a very special discount so that you can get access to our full general certificate course with all of my tutor support, all of our mock exam support, NG2, IG2 project support, all of our video tutorials, study books, PDF guides. You will get everything that we offer to our own students. And then you will have a chance of joining us with some of the highest pass rates in the NEBOSH e-learning industry. Let's get back to the advice. 10 marks. 10 marks for, I presume, 10 benefits maybe. And all of these benefits must be based in the scenario only. So if it's not relevant to the scenario, don't write it down. What I'm now going to do, and I'm now going to read the scenario super carefully, and I'm going to highlight, see I've got a little highlight thing here, look, I can highlight stuff like that. I can highlight things which I think are relevant to this answer. And I can kind of make some notes and some comments along the way. So, Harbour Heights Hotel is a busy seaside hotel with 80 guest rooms, a restaurant, and a small event suite used for weddings and conferences. Remember, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, right, benefits of inspections. How would an inspection have benefited it? Okay, keep that question in mind. Otherwise, you're going to go off in a strange direction. The hotel is open all year round and employs receptionists, let me zoom in a bit, receptionists, housekeeping staff, chefs, kitchen assistants and maintenance workers. So far, I can't really see any benefits. The hotel manager is focused mainly on maximizing bookings, especially during the summer season. Most of their attention goes into marketing and guest satisfaction. Formal health and safety checks are rarely carried out. The maintenance team deal with repairs only when faults are reported by guests or staff. There is no routine inspection program in place. So I think straight away we've got a benefit here. The benefit is that we won't rely on faults being reported by guests or staff. We will be taking a more proactive approach and we will be identifying faults much sooner. So I've highlighted that. Over the past year, several hazards have developed around the hotel. Some light bulbs in the stairwells have blown and not been replaced, leaving areas poorly lit. Okay, so by doing inspections, we are going to identify bulbs that have blown and we'll get them replaced far more quickly, which will improve levels of lighting, making the workplace safer. Carpets in some corridors have frayed, causing edges to curl upwards. All right, so we're going to catch those things as well. In the kitchen, floor tiles have cracked and become loose, making the surface uneven. Right, so we'll catch those as well. So there's a whole series of hazards here which could be identified much more quickly and then, more importantly, fixed. Staff have occasionally mentioned these issues informally to supervisors, but no formal action has been taken. Right, so by doing formal inspections, which is part of a process, those will be logged and then formal action will get taken. So it's going to formalize the whole process. One evening during a busy wedding reception, a waitress carrying plates of food tripped on a frayed section of carpet in a dimly lit corridor leading to the dining room. Now this bit here is very relevant, and when I answer the question, I will link that to the bit here about the light bulbs being replaced, making sure areas are brighter, which would mean that people are more likely, like the waitress was less likely in future to not notice a trip hazard and trip over it. She fell heavily, dropping the plates. You can tell this is my scenario because NEBOSH probably wouldn't say she, they would say they. There'd be a they. Everything's gender neutral in the NEBOSH scenarios. So straight away, it probably wouldn't be a waitress. It might be, I don't know, a hospitality technician or something. It's all very gender neutral. So straight away, competitors trying to dob me in. You can tell this is not a real NEBOSH scenario. She fell heavily, dropping the plates and cutting her hand badly on broken crockery. Ooh la la. So again, you can mention this in your answer. You could mention something like, well, doing inspections identifies the hazards, fixes the problems, and reduces and would. I've forgotten what the question is. Let's just go back to the question. How could carrying out before the accident have been, right, okay, so had we done the inspections before the accident, we would have prevented this accident. There we are. So had we done the inspections, we would have changed the light bulbs, we would have identified the broken carpet, we would have fixed all of those issues, meaning that this poor girl would have seen where she was going, there wouldn't have been a frayed carpet to trip on, she would never have fallen over and badly cut her hands. That is a benefit, yeah? With benefit. You know, is that a benefit to the hotel? Oh, yes it is. And you'll see why in a moment. Guests nearby rushed to help. Bit of excitement at the old wedding here. But the incident caused distress and disrupted service. Yeah, no Sherlock. The waitress was taken to hospital where stitches were required. The following morning, the duty supervisor noted the incident in their diary. Gender neutral there now. In their diary, but did not record it in the accident book. Naughty supervisor. The hotel manager was frustrated, not only because of the injury, but also because several guests complained about the scene and posted negative reviews online. Right. There we go. That's a benefit, isn't it? So it's now damaging the reputation of the hotel. So go back to the question, how would doing the inspections before the accident have benefited the hotel? By preventing the accident, it would have prevented causing a public scene in the wedding, prevented upsetting the guests and upsetting the brides. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. A month later, following pressure from the insurance company after a personal injury compensation claim was submitted. Right, there we go. So we wouldn't have had the personal injury compensation claim had we done the inspections, fixed the hazard. You know the story now. The manager appointed a part-time health and safety advisor. I'm tempted. This won't get a mark, but I'm tempted to put that down. I'm tempted to say, you wouldn't have had to employ your part-time health and safety advisor had you bothered to do your own inspections beforehand. But that won't get a mark. let's not try that. During their first walk through the hotel, the advisor quickly spotted the frayed carpets, cracked tiles, and poor lighting that had contributed to the accident. They commented that such issues would have been obvious in any routine workplace inspection. Right. So what I'm going to do now is basically, I've got all my notes there. I just need to try to turn that into 10 possible benefits. So let me start by making kind of a list, just a list of brief things. Doing inspections would have, and I'm just going to start numbering them so I can kind of count my benefits here. Created a formal system to identify hazards. Hazards would be identified proactively rather than reactively. Okay, let's just work through it. Faults are reported by guests or staff. Okay. We've got all these issues with the carpets and lighting and the floor tiles. Hazards such as the blown bulbs, frayed carpets, and uneven tiles would have been identified much sooner. These hazards would have been formally logged. Why do I say formally logged? Because at the moment they're not getting formally logged, are they? They are getting logged informally to the supervisors there, which means no formal action is taking place. So it would be formally logged in an inspection report and reported to the person to fix them. You know, accidentally I've stopped making a list and I've accidentally just started to write a full answer on that one. That's fine, you can do that if you want to, but usually I would start just by writing a real quick list. Let me just carry on my real quick list. I'll just say formal action taken, which could be a repair. Repairing would have led to no accident, and no accident would have led to no injured waitress, and no accident would have led to no scene disrupting the wedding, no negative reviews online, protect reputation, no compensation claim. Okay, I've got exactly 10 there. Okay, exactly 10. I'm not particularly happy with exactly 10 things. I would like to add more of those things if I could. I'm having a real quick look to see if there's anything else I can mention. Oh, there's complaining about the scene. Okay. No complaints from wedding guests. Okay. No negative reviews online, would protect the reputation. That's possibly another point. No compensation claim. And also, you know, there's pressure from the insurance company here as well. I haven't really flagged that one. So there's a possibility the insurance premium could rise after this, but also there's just the hassle of having to deal with the insurer, the claim, the paperwork, and all of that. Would have been no pressure from insurer, no wasted time dealing with insurer, guest complaints. Bloody fire alarm. Health and safety got mad. Really is. It's an office. What can burn in an office? Lights everywhere. No prospect of insurance premium increases. Okay, right, so I've gone further now. I've got 15 possible benefits. Now, just to be clear, these are not answers. These probably won't get marks because, you know, you haven't really explained yourself. The NEBOSH instructions say short answers, one-word answers, lists are unlikely to get marks because they don't demonstrate your understanding. So what we need to do now is just write those out in full. I'm not going to write out the whole thing in full, otherwise it's going to be a very, very long video, but let me just give you a bit of an idea as to what a good answer might start to look like. So take this one here, formal action taken, repair. So by ensuring formal action is taken, all of these hazards would have been repaired, i.e. light bulbs replaced, making the workplace brighter, and the carpet fixed, eliminating the trip hazard. There you go. I've written 2 and a bit lines. And I aim for that personally. That's not an absolute rule, to be clear, but I aim for about 2 and a bit lines per answer. And that gives you lots of opportunity to make your point, elaborate and explain your point a little bit more, and to insert short references to the scenario as is appropriate, which is what I've done there. I've made my point by basically saying that they would have repaired the hazards, and then I've kind of explained that by linking it to the scenario. I'll then take this one, repairing means no accidents. With these hazards repaired, notice I've got a typo, but that's fine, you know, it's not a grammar or spelling test. With hazards repaired, the trip incident involving the waitress would not have occurred. No accident, no injured waitress. This means the injury to the waitress would not have happened, and there would have been no distressing scene disrupting the wedding and the service, and so on. So notice now my answers are getting a little bit shorter. That's okay, I'm just making my clear point. I am linking everything back to the scenario. There's nothing generic in here, that's okay. I'll do one last one. If they had done the inspection, this would have prevented the accident, and therefore there would not have been complaints from the wedding guests about the scene. Something like that, get rid of that. There we are, that's broadly speaking how I would approach any exam question, and that's how I would approach this exam question. So just read the question really carefully, read through your scenario, looking for things in the scenario that are relevant to that question, write a bit of a list, turn your list into full answers, aim to have more answers than there are marks in the question. If you can do that on every single question, hopefully you're golden and you should pass. Any questions? Drop me a comment below.